Hi, it's me. Number 10. The Kingdom of Ararat. In the summer of 2018, an amateur archaeologist stumbled across something incredible. While hiking in eastern Turkey, he was in a remote mountainous region when he found traces of ancient structures and settlements dating back thousands of years. The structures included what looked like massive foundations, walls and rooms filled with pottery shards. The artifacts found were similar to items discovered at other historical sites in the area, suggesting that this might have been the long-lost Kingdom of Ararat. According to history books, the Kingdom of Ararat was one of the most powerful civilizations of its time. It existed from around 1300 BC until around 900 BC. It is believed the kingdom was located somewhere in the mountains of eastern Turkey, but no one could ever find where exactly. Some historians even argued the kingdom wasn't real at all. Instead, it was a biblical place, a legendary land spoken about in the Bible that never really existed. However, the discovery in 2018 may have proven them wrong. This accidental archaeological site has not yet been fully excavated. No one has even come close to figuring out how big it was or how many people lived there. In all likelihood, the lost city of Ararat is hiding in plain sight, waiting for experts to come and unearth its secrets. Number 9. Giant rock carvings. It all started when Google Maps users began noticing weird rock formations in Saudi Arabia. These were pictures taken by Google's fleet of Street View cars driving around the Arabian Peninsula. As soon as people saw the images online, they began speculating that there were gigantic faces carved into rocks in the middle of the desert. The supposed giant faces had shocked the world. Some claimed the statues were evidence of an ancient civilization much more advanced than we think. Others said the stone heads belonged to gods worshipped by the ancients. One particularly controversial image showed what appeared to be a face with what could be interpreted as. When the pictures were first uploaded online, everyone wondered if these giant stone heads were real. Had Google accidentally photographed ancient statues, or were these just natural rock formations that looked like faces? Over time, the truth has emerged. All of the so-called giant faces have been proven to be nothing more than ordinary rocks. For example, the rock formation that looks like a head with dreadlocks is actually a sandstone formation that resembles nothing so much as a mushroom. Other rock formations that may look like faces are merely camel dung or piles of trash left behind by careless nomads. Then there's the famous Hegra, also known as Madan Saleh, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site full of tombs from the Nebaean kingdoms. While the carvings here are definitely real, they're nowhere near as old as some of the other sites. They only go back about 2,000 years. Now, deep in the swamps of southern Iraq lies an ancient city that may have been the very same place mentioned in the Bible. Shurapak is an archaeological site that may have been home to between 20,000 and 50,000 people during its peak in the mid-3rd millennium BC. It's possible the settlement was home to one of the oldest human civilizations on Earth. What makes Shurapak such a big deal is the claim that it was the biblical city destroyed by a great flood, the very same flood that supposedly led to the story of Noah's Ark. Archaeologists have uncovered massive buildings from the days of the Sumerian Empire. They've found ziggurats, temples, palaces, and defensive walls, but they haven't found any evidence of a catastrophic flood. What's interesting is that Shurapak seems to have been destroyed around the same time as other Mesopotamian cities like Lagash. All 4 cities were abandoned in the early 26th century BC, potentially because of a series of droughts and famines rather than an actual flood. Nevertheless, it's an amazing site filled with Sumerian treasures. There are cuneiform tablets covered in ancient writing, intricately crafted statues of gods and goddesses, and remnants of a bustling port city. Number 2. Angkor. The ancient Khmer city of Angkor is one of the largest archaeological sites in the world. Located in present-day Cambodia, Angkor was once a thriving metropolis. It was the capital of the Khmer Empire, which ruled over much of Southeast Asia from about the 9th to the 15th century AD. At its peak, the city was home to millions of people, making it one of the largest urban centers on Earth. Some of the most notable structures include Angkor Wat, a vast temple complex built in the 12th century, and Angkor Thom, the last capital of the Khmer Empire. The city is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most popular tourist destinations in Cambodia. Archaeologists have been excavating the ruins of Angkor since the 1920s. They've made some truly astounding discoveries, including hundreds of intricately carved statues and bas-reliefs depicting scenes from ancient mythology. The statues range from enormous figures like the god Vishnu to tiny figures like Apsaras. And then there are the towers, hundreds of towers constructed from sandstone bricks and each one meticulously designed to be as perfect as possible. No, 6. Yonaguni Monument. Off the coast of Yonaguni Island in Japan, archaeologists believe there is a mysterious underwater monument. Some believe it to be the lost island kingdom of Yamatai, which, according to legend, was swallowed by the sea centuries ago. But whether it is a man-made structure or a natural rock formation has been a source of debate for decades. The Yonaguni Monument is a huge rock formation, sitting about 100 feet below the surface of the East China Sea. It's roughly the size of a football field and has several strange geometric shapes. The largest of these shapes kind of looks like a face, and the rest resemble various structures and patterns. Some say the rock formation proves that there was a sophisticated civilization living on the island of Yonaguni thousands of years ago. Others claim the monument is nothing but a figment of someone's imagination. One of the biggest arguments against the underwater structure being man-made is that there is no way humans could have built such a thing 3,000 years ago. If the monument is natural, then it must have formed by pure coincidence. On the other hand, if it is man-made, then it points to a culture capable of building large structures. Unfortunately, without further evidence, no one can say for sure what the structure is. No. 5. The Egyptian Pyramids. We've all heard of the pyramids of Giza, but did you know there are other pyramids scattered all over Egypt? There are hundreds of pyramids hidden in the desert sands. The vast majority of them are small, and no one knows exactly how many exist. The reason for this is that the pyramids weren't used as tombs for regular citizens. They were reserved for members of the royal family and important officials. During the Old Kingdom, new pharaohs would build pyramids to solidify their power and wealth. The bigger the pyramid, the better. One of the smallest pyramids is the Black Pyramid, which is one of the few that still stands relatively intact. It's located south of Cairo and was built around 2560 BC for Pharaoh Unas. There's also the Bent Pyramid, a strange-looking structure with a whopping 147 steps. And then there's the Red Pyramid, named for its reddish color and standing, 104 meters tall. All of these pyramids remain shrouded in mystery, though the Bent Pyramid is particularly strange. Its sides aren't even parallel and the angle of its slope is steeper than usual. And now for 4. But first I want to give a big shout out to 2 supporters. Thanks so much for watching and supporting the channel. If you are new here, be sure to join the family. We'd love to have you. Number 4. Mohenjo-daro. About 2,000 years ago, there was a Bronze Age city unlike any other. It was a bustling metropolis with well-planned streets, efficient plumbing and enough residents to make it one of the largest cities in the ancient world. But the city was never mentioned in the Bible. It wasn't part of the Roman Empire and it wasn't known to the Greeks. Mohenjo-daro was an ancient city in the Indus Valley Civilization. Archaeologists have uncovered impressive structures like the Great Bath, a massive pool measuring 39 feet by 39 feet and 20 feet deep. There's also the Citadel, a massive platform that served as a base for administrative buildings and possibly a royal palace. In addition, there are houses, shops, marketplaces, and even public bathrooms. Unlike other ancient cities, the residents of Mohenjo-daro didn't live in filth. They kept their streets clean and free of garbage. Their houses were well maintained and they took pride in their community. The city was also incredibly safe. There were no weapons found throughout the entire archaeological site. What's most surprising is that the city was completely abandoned around 1800 BC. No one knows why the residents left. Perhaps there was a drought or an invasion. Either way, the city was deserted and forgotten. It wasn't rediscovered until the 1920s. Today, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Number 3. Sacrificer Pyramid. The Sacrificer Pyramid is one of the most controversial archaeological sites in Mexico. It was built 250 years before the Aztec Empire even existed. Archaeologists have found evidence that it was used for ceremonies as far back as 1000 BC, but the pyramid was abandoned around 1473 AD for almost 500 years. The origins of the pyramid remained a mystery. There were theories that it was built by the Aztecs, the Toltecs, but nobody could prove anything until 2015. In 2015, a team of archaeologists finally discovered artifacts that gave them a glimpse into the ancient past. They found pieces of pottery, tools, and weapons that helped them identify the builders. As it turns out, the Sacrificer Pyramid was built by the metropolis culture. Unfortunately, the discovery raised more questions than it answered. Why did the metropolis build a pyramid here of all places? And why did they abandon it after only 100 years? Even stranger is that the pyramid was used for human sacrifices. Researchers identified at least 400 victims, most of them young men who were likely kidnapped and brought to the site under duress. Some were killed in ritualistic ways, like having their hearts ripped out, and others were simply Who were the kidnappers and why did they do what they did? Sadly, these questions may never be answered. No. Betelgeuse is a red giant star in the constellation of Orion. It's about 700 light-years away from Earth, and it's big enough to fit 13 quadrillion of our planets inside. In about 1 million years, the star will go supernova, exploding in a blaze of glory, and leaving behind a neutron star or black hole. But what does this have to do with aliens? Well, astronomers have noticed that Betelgeuse isn't quite the same as it was 20 years ago. Back in 2004, researchers noticed the star dimming significantly. They expected it to brighten again, but instead it kept getting dimmer and dimmer. By 2020, the star was 25% less bright than normal. This caused astronomers to panic. Was the star collapsing in on itself? Was the explosion going to happen sooner than expected? When scientists looked up the star to check on it, they found it had suddenly brightened. Apparently, the dimming was caused by dust kicked up by an earthquake on the surface of the star. But that raises another question. How do you get an earthquake on a star? Most likely, there was a huge explosion on the surface of Betelgeuse, possibly a supernova that lit up the star like a massive fireworks. Could there have been something else there? An alien spaceship? Possibly. No. 1. Dogon. The Dogon people live in the West African nation of Mali. They're best known for their unique art, music and traditional lifestyle. But what really makes them so fascinating is their knowledge of the cosmos. The Dogon believed the universe was created in a great explosion, and that life on Earth was placed here by supernatural beings. They also have a deep understanding of astronomy and can predict eclipses with incredible accuracy. In fact, they've been studying the sky for thousands of years, and have a strong belief that every star in the sky is inhabited by intelligent life. What's really strange is that the Dogon seem to know things about space that they couldn't have possibly learned on their own. For example, they have detailed knowledge of Sirius, the brightest star in the sky. According to the Dogon, Sirius is actually a binary system consisting of 2 stars that orbit each other every 50 years. Now, the Dogon knew this thousands of years before modern astronomers figured it out. Scientists have tried to figure out how the Dogon gained this knowledge. Some say they learned it from ancient Egyptians. Others say it was passed down to them by extraterrestrials. Until we get more proof, we'll never know for sure. Thanks for watching. Which of these lost civilizations would you love to explore the most? Let me know in the comments below and remember to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.